Let's explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily.
It really feels like the cat with the laser pointer. It's like you've led the cat up to the top of the building, and now you're leading it over the edge.
President Trump is rebalancing trade around the world and making things more fair for the American people.
I think that anytime the deep state can like overcapitalize in whatever situation they have, they're going to.
But the rest of it is a very well organized and well funded color revolution operation of the type they run all over the world again and again and again to destabilize entire society.
All right, good morning, Badlandia. Welcome to Badlands Daily. Groundhog Day.
Oh, shit.
Anything all over.
I didn't realize today was Groundhog's Day. That is, yeah, correct.
It is today. And today is the day that the whole country is going to be beholden to a furry creature and whether or not he knows which way the sun is pointing.
So what time is Punxsutawney Phil set to come out? Because I'll tell you what, it's like 30 degrees here right now, Brian. What about you?
It's like 40, I think.
Okay, it's 39 now. When I woke up at 8, it was 30.
I think it's 45 right now. This weekend, broadly, was, I think, the first time in the history of my 42 years being a Floridian that I've had the heat on all day.
Yeah, we had it on all weekend. I know in Miami, it was colder than it was in Alaska yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know that that's ever happened in recorded history.
Is this like at the same exact time, or is this broadly? Because Alaska is 5 hours behind us, so there's a possibility like midday versus early morning.
It was the low of the day.
Wow.
Was lower in Miami than it was in Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's some crazy stuff right there.
Are we having problems with Rumble? Somebody in the chat over on X says issues with Rumble. I don't know.
I am not seeing anything in the chat. Everybody's responding to what we're talking about right now. I'm going to go with okay.
Okay, so yeah, whoever you are.
Florida is colder than Alaska. It's crazy. That is nuts, man.
That is totally wild, dude. We also, for the first time, my hose froze. I come out in the morning and it had frozen, expanded, and then blown overnight. Wow. And it was just pissing water all over the ground. I had to go shut it off.
We did the iguana thing down here. Let me see if I put a video out.
All right, so a bunch of people over on X and YouTube are both saying that Rumble is not working.
Everybody in the chat saying Rumble's fine, guys.
Okay, all right. So just refresh over there on those other platforms. The people on Rumble seem to be able to see it. Maybe there was a slight delay or something like that.
Maybe. I'll play you guys the iguana video here in a second. But before we do that, let's talk about a little soft disclosure.
The following ad is rated M for mature. Soft Disclosure wants you to get naked this Valentine's Day with limited edition his and her bundles that save you 20% off the individual retail prices. Proprietary oil infusions, grass-finished beef tallow, goat's milk from American goats, locally grown herbs and ingredients. Soft Disclosure is putting America First fruits on your skin.
And for these sexy bundles, we've added an all-new boar's haired beard brush and a solid jade gua sha. And the reason I'm here is because Alpha doesn't know how to say these words.
Gusha. His, hers. We need a moment to calm down. Don't hide your skin. Disclose it. Get naked this Valentine's Day with Soft Disclosure. Head over to softdisclosure.com and save 20% off individual retail prices with our his and hers customizable bundles, and use promo code NAKED to save 15% off the rest of the site. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Promo code does not apply to bundle discounts.
Valentine's Day? Did he do that on purpose?
Yeah, Valentine's Day's in like 2 weeks.
No. He said Valentine's.
Oh, well, that's Alpha, man. He can't, that's why Ash had to come in and do that little overlay.
He can't. He has a congenital defect. He's unable to pronounce N's.
I guess.
He's like, nigga.
So here's my backyard during this cold storm.
I hope you made some wallets or some boots or something.
We have another one that we discovered yesterday that made it into our pool, and he is literally just like, and yeah, you could just pick them up, like they can't move at all. Oh, where's it picking up? Yeah, you just pick them up and they can't move. Their body is just completely like
rigor.
It doesn't move. Rigor mortis fully blown.
So let me ask you this. I mean, I'm serious when I say you need to make a wallet or some boots, because I mean, iguanas are invasive. Are you collecting them, or are you taking care of them, or are you just letting them live out there? Because they do pose a risk to our native wildlife.
Yeah. So our city actually has a drive going where you can bring them to the city at a certain place, and they're going to dispose of them.
Okay.
And they are incredibly invasive. They're detrimental to our infrastructure. They have no natural predators, so nothing is eating them.
Yeah.
Like, they're just sitting there. I'm kind of wondering, because they're going to be like this for the next week or so, because it's in the 40s for the next week. And I'm kind of wondering maybe if this is God's way of exterminating them from our area, because they're not supposed to be here.
That would be awesome. I hear Nile monitors are starting to pose a problem down in southern Florida, and obviously pythons too. I watched the Python Cowboy on YouTube. He does he does invasive management for the state. He's got contracts. He'll go to like different neighborhoods, golf courses, subdivisions. He's got contracts with them to like go through the canals and uses a pellet gun to take out the iguanas, but he goes out into the Everglades and he'll grab, these giant pythons, dude, and try to collect as many eggs as possible. But I mean, those things are incredibly bad for our ecosystem because, I mean, they eat the native wildlife. The iguanas will just outcompete them. And they're also bad for the seawalls. They're bad for the canals in so many different ways. Parakeets are another one that are invasive and that are down here. A couple of different types of parrots as well that I know we have living in southern Florida. People like those more than they like the lizards, but they're just as bad.
So the Python Cowboy, his name's Mike. He actually I've met him a couple times. I'm not friends with him or anything, but a lot of my friends are very close, with him, and they do a lot of this stuff out there. And we were trying to put together a hunt because he does a veteran hunt where they go out and shoot him with like these little like overpowered pellet guns, and his dog, jumps off the boat and gets them, and which is kind of scary to me because alligators down here, that is one thing that I worry about is alligators and dogs. But we were trying to put together a hunt, and then he went on Joe Rogan, and like he's impossible to get a hold of now. Like that's like instant stardom. But I was trying to put together something where Alpha came out here and me and him did a hunt with Mike, and we'll see if we can make that happen. But anyways, yeah, so that's pretty cool to see all these iguanas being round up, and it is what it is. They're invasive. They got to go.
Yeah. So I've got some clarification. So somebody in the chat said that they got a Cloudflare notification. Cloudflare is one of the services that Rumble uses to make sure that their website is working. Looks like the Rumble app is having issues, and I would hazard a guess and say it's probably because Dan Bongino is back online today, and so there's a lot of people in his chat.
Well, thank you. 145,000 right now over there watching.
Good Lord!
Thank you to the 1,600 that stuck around.
16 people.
With the loyalists who never left to go to the FBI and do next to nothing over the last year. Not saying that nothing happened, just not much in terms of what he was famous for talking about. A lot's happening still, between Fulton County, the Epstein files being released, but I think we'll see some action coming up here. I'm not dooming out on it. I just,
who knows?
It is what it is.
Maybe we would have never gotten to this point if it weren't for the background machinations of Danny Boy.
Facts.
Absolutely. 100% respect to Dan Bongino. I got no problems with him at all. Love the guy.
Yeah, I think that him actually going back to the podcasting sphere right now is extremely important. I just hate that it's on the same time as us.
Yeah, it could be better.
Oh man! All right, so if you have not done so yet, smash that thumbs up, and let's go ahead and jump into this first clip here. So we all know Don Lemon was arrested last week. He was let out on bail on his own, and now you are seeing this push from the Mockingbird media to make this man a martyr. When you look back on history, they're going to try and make Don Lemon out to be the MLK Jr. of our, generation. Zach, you look like you wanted to say something before we play the clip.
I did. I wanted to see if we could pull up the Don Lemon mugshot. I've actually got it right here because when I saw it, I saw people sharing it. And I was like, there's no way that's real. Like, that's got to be AI because it kind of looks like a Polaroid and his head looks different. And maybe that's because he positions the camera in such a way so that he looks better than he does in real life. But I mean, he almost looks like one of those Peruvian elongated skull beings that they find in those caves in the Atacama Desert. Just like, look at that dome. I never realized how big Don Lemon's head was. He's got a real egg-shaped head, and he looks very unhappy, very, very unhappy. But I verified it. This is a real mugshot. LA County actually released his mugshot, and he looks pissed.
Wow. Well, let's play this clip here of his former colleague Brian Stelter melting down over this.
Lemon has said all along that he was there not as an activist, but as a journalist. In fact, he was saying those words and repeating that out loud when he was inside the church. But he clearly knew something was taking place that day with the protesters. He told his viewers on YouTube to stay tuned because there was something about to happen. He was careful not to have his camera crew walk into the church until there was a disruption. And I would urge people to go online, actually watch the YouTube video, see how it all went down. I think Lemon's reporting from inside the church was very valuable. As a viewer, I learned a lot about how it happened, how it all went down. He interviewed some of the protesters in real time, yes. He also interviewed some of the worshipers, and I thought their comments were really insightful about what they went through, about how troubled, how scared they were by the disruption. At the same time, like I said, you learned a lot from the protesters about why they decided to show up there, believing that one of the pastors at the church also worked for ICE. So this video on YouTube, this is the real focal point. This video, it of course happened on a Sunday morning. This video was then streaming for everyone to see. And by Monday, the day after that incident, there was a lot of online outrage on the right. Many calls from MAGA loyalists to have Lemon arrested. I think an important part of the story here is the amount of pressure the Justice Department, Pam Bondi, and others have been under from the right to arrest Lemon, to take action like this. And as you said, the initial attempt to do so failed in Minnesota. Now we're seeing another attempt to do so. And Lemon did say on his live stream last week, he expected the government would keep coming for him. I think I view this in context with the Trump administration attempts to target other perceived critics. Think about Letitia James. Think about James Comey. Think about the many cases we've covered in the past year of Trump retribution.
All right. So I got another clip that I want to play as well, but imagine. Well, let me save my comment till after the next clip because it's more relevant there. So if you want to jump in on this, go ahead.
I mean, what else is he going to say, right? I mean, Don Lemon may no longer work for CNN, but Don Lemon and Brian Stelter are still in the same club. Yes. And their credibility, whatever credibility in quotation marks they have left, rests upon the idea that Don Lemon is being persecuted, that he was doing journalism. And he was not in any respect committing violations of the FACE Act or the Enforcement Act, because, of course, if that is the case, then that's going to put them on notice. And they want to be able to continue their path towards a dishonest and unequal playing field. Their whole goal the entire time is that they're the real journalists, and that people like us, we're the fake journalists. But it's the opposite. It's completely the other way around, because, obviously we are out here, we're covering things, we're looking for, the real angle, we're trying to discover the truth, we're trying to report things honestly, and they've got a narrative that they want to sow. Of course, I've got my biases. I love President Trump. I love America. So when I talk about things, I'm going to inject that bias into it, but I'm not going to pretend that I don't. Whereas Don Lemon and Brian Stelter, another famous egghead from CNN, they're going to pretend as if they don't.
Yeah, but I think so that's interesting, because this, last Friday, when we were doing daily, I had two gentlemen here that were replacing the air conditioner in my house, and probably why we kept the heat running all weekend, because it's a brand new unit and it was glorious. But when I was finished with my show, the guy that was working right here, right next to my studio, and could hear everything that I was saying, he goes, "Holy crap, that was amazing." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "The show you did, like, you weren't biased. You attacked everybody. You went after Democrats, you went after Republicans, and like all this." And I was like, I told him, I said, the only person that I don't really attack that much is President Trump. And that's because he was the one that pioneered this movement into holding accountability over the media, the fake news, right?
Absolutely.
Fake news.
That's President Trump. And we've been dealing with this for all this time. And now to see Don Lemon freaking out over something that J6ers were destroyed for doing. Yes. And that brings me to this clip. Let me play this clip right here. This is TMZ, and I shortened this up just to the relevant part. This guy goes off. You can see that face right there is actually the perfect face.
Oh, Harvey
or
Levin.
TMZ.
He just got done taking no, I'm not even going to say it. Just got.
But that is the perfect face for this segment that TMZ put out. Now listen to this one part right here.
The idea that a journalist, which Don Lemon has been for 30 years, would walk into a church and film a demonstration which is of national interest, and then to say somehow, when you watch the video, they say he's part of the protest. Watch that video. He is covering the protest. He is covering it. That's what journalists do.
So he says there that this was of national interest. Okay. Now, Zach, let me ask you, do you think January 6th was of national interest?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And very different to Don Lemon. Many of those people who ended up in the Capitol did not go to DC with the intention of going into the Capitol. There were so many people there. And I know, because I was there, obviously. It was difficult. If you were at a certain point and you've got a throng of thousands, maybe tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people behind you, all pushing forward, you've got no choice but to go with the flow of the people. Don Lemon was embedded. Okay. Don Lemon knew about this before it even took place. Don Lemon was not just driving down the street as a disinterested party and said, "Hey guys, how lucky for us. We've got our entire camera crew here. Let's get out and see what that disturbance is at the church." No, Don Lemon knew exactly what was going on. Don Lemon was part of the conspiracy. I'm sure, just like me, just like many people, you've read the indictment. You've gone through all of those mitigating factors which led to Don Lemon's indictment. They've laid it out in excruciating detail. Don Lemon was on the exact same level as the people who showed up and were calling little kids Nazis and calling them fake Christians for being there with their parents. Don Lemon was also actively part of the group who blocked people from leaving the church, who got so uncomfortably close to that pastor that, that he forced him to touch him, and then acted like, don't touch me, don't push me. Like, screw that guy. He knew exactly what he was there for. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he ought to have known better.
When you look, and I wanted to hold back the J6 portion of this until the TMZ clip right there. Okay. But again, January 6th was definitely of national interest. There were, I know personally, JD Rivera, we've interviewed him on Sit Rep a few times. I've had him on Inside J6, the podcast I used to do. Simply had the press, markings, walked around, had 2 professional cameras recording everything going on inside of there, was waved into the Capitol, has all of this documented on evidence. And he was still sentenced to, I think it was 9 months in a working camp.
Yeah.
And he had to go. He's a former Marine, still a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine, but he's a Marine. He's got, I think he has 3 kids. His wife did not work because he was the breadwinner. And, you know, when he went away, that's 9 months that their life was completely and totally uprooted. And for what? Now, compare what JD did. And there's others, right? Steve Baker at The Blaze, Samuel Montoya at InfoWars. And even Jaden X, although I have a lot of questions about Jaden X because, you know, he was in the rotunda saying, we did it. I couldn't tell you, but I promised you, I just couldn't tell you. That's interesting. But going back to the 3 that I mentioned, Montoya, Baker, and JD, imagine if they had a video of JD, Baker, or Montoya with the, you know, the people that orchestrated J6 saying that we're going to go in there and disrupt this private, and granted the Capitol is not private, distinct difference between what Lemon did and what these 3 that I just talked about on January 6th did. The Capitol is public property. But imagine, say the Capitol was private, right? It was private property. They had no right to be there. Imagine if the Justice Department under Joe Biden in Washington, video of JD Rivera saying, hey, this is a secret operation, a clandestine operation that we're conducting to go in there and disrupt this service and protest, right? He'd still be in, well, if had it not been for President Trump and the pardons, he would have been in prison for decades. It would have been seditious conspiracy, just like they threw at the Proud Boys, just like they threw at, you know, the Oath Keepers, and they would have locked them up for as long as they humanly possible. So compare that with what Don Lemon did in conspiring against, you know, Americans' First Amendment right to worship. And then, you know, the sickest part, and I said this is the part that I'm surprised didn't draw blood, is when they blocked parishioners from getting to their children in the childcare downstairs.
Oh, yeah. That's disgusting. You know, and somebody broke their arm trying to get out of there.
Yeah. So,
and they did block those children when they were trying to leave. You know, I mean, like, those kids are blameless. I mean, that's so disgusting. The things that, what was his, William Kelly, the woke farmer or the woke farmer, that guy is such a piece of shit. Every single time he's out there, he's out harassing families, harassing children. I mean, each and every one of those people deserve everything that's coming to them. There's a very, very fine line between covering something with newsworthy interest and, of course, violating somebody's First Amendment rights.
For a little comic relief, I did find some. I had this leaked to me, some private footage of Don Lemon in prison.
Come up over there, Paul. Hey, ladies, how's it hanging? I'm gonna say something to him. I just wanted to let you know I'm your biggest fan, and I will be cheering my jailhouse boobies off for you at game day. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And there goes YouTube for copyright. I do have another clip that I want to show, and this is, you know, again, making comparisons to, you know, to January 6th. This was federal agents apparently serving the warrant on one of the co-conspirators in this FACE Act violation.
Yes.
I love that. That needs to be a meme right there.
Yeah.
That needs to be a meme right there. Hello, is anybody home?
Okay. Okay, well, this is really scary. There's kids in the house. You guys have not been really friendly in the community.
Okay, let's just pause it right there. That's really scary. There are kids in the house. There were kids in that church that you stormed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a lot scarier than, you know, when you're a kid, you know, 10, 12 years old, 8 years old, whatever, at church. And all of a sudden these people come in screaming and shouting, and you've seen what's been going on in your city and the fights and the riots and the fireworks and all that stuff. Your kids are like, they probably are in bed sleeping. They have no idea what's going on. So
yeah,
just want to draw that comparison.
And I'll tell you what would have been a lot scarier and totally warranted: a battering ram through the door and a series of flashbangs deployed throughout the house as MP5s are pointed at their heads saying that, you know, get on the ground, hands behind your back, stop resisting. That would have been really scary.
Okay, when you say warranted, I want to make clear. I think you're saying in relationship and the precedent set during J6.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't think any of that is warranted,
No.
neither for J6ers nor for this woman. To be fair.
No. But if we're going, toe for toe, like here's the thing. I mean, these people have felony warrants for a crime that is, highly, highly, highly damaging and controversial. Okay, the people who had their civil liberties stripped away by these individuals at the church, of course, they were blameless. They were doing nothing. All right. But these individuals who are being arrested, they should be afforded none of that based upon the treatment that has been given in past cases. That is my point.
Okay. Just to be, because I don't think either of us are for, some like massive.
No. But I'm just, at this point, I want them to go hard. I mean, it's just like, to hear her bitch and moan about, oh, this is scary. There are children here. Like, woman, for real. Like, I don't care. I really don't care.
Yeah, let's play the rest of this.
And to me, this seems a little, can I finish, sir? This seems, can I finish? Can I finish?
Get your phone.
This seems a little bit aggressive to have all these cars in our cul-de-sac, 2, 3 agents, and now I saw the one disappear to the back. So to me, this is a little aggressive to just serve a warrant. Slide the warrant. Let me see the warrant.
Oh man, what goes around comes around.
Okay. And that, to me, what I have been told, is not a judicial warrant that has me to have to open the door.
So have you ever seen the footage when they raided Alpha's home?
No, I haven't seen the footage, but obviously he told the story on my show and I've heard him talk about it on numerous occasions. And that's another great point. I mean, the respect that he was afforded for doing something not even close to the same level as these people. It's awful.
Let me see if I can find that footage real quick. Let me what's the next clip that I have to play? Crap, I don't have one. Crap. I was going to try and find it real quick while I did that. Let me see. I think I put it as Alfredo Luna. Yeah, here it is. So this is the footage of Alpha being raided.
All right, so just so the audience knows, you're seeing, obviously you saw the primary vehicle, which is in the middle, which is parked right behind my truck. You're going to see a vehicle off to the left, and then the vehicle to the right that's partially cut off is the armored vehicle with the turret on top. And then, like I said, you'll see everybody dismount, and then, like I said, you'll see someone go to the armored vehicle when they grab the drone. And I think that's probably around the minute mark when that happens. But you can let it fly.
Let's keep going here. All right, so now this is the original. I rewinded a little bit by accident, guys, so I apologize for that. I'll keep this here so I can click stop if we need to.
You see that? Let me stop this on a spot where the light is. There we go. Those are FBI agents, joint counter JTTF, Joint Terrorism Task Force agents surrounding his house at 6 a.m. on a Friday. They deployed a flashbang outside of his home. They had a drone flying over his home, and all of that was over a tweet. That was literally over a tweet. Nothing else.
And he was a law enforcement officer at this time. Like, totally unwarranted, completely unnecessary. If they had any sort of concerns about who he was or what he might do, why wouldn't they just talk to him at the station? I mean, like, as if he wouldn't be willing to come in and talk to them.
Yeah. And the craziest part, yes, Artsy Joan, that was over a tweet. He had two tweets out that were the foundation of the warrant against him. He was one of the first people that was raided following January 6th. I think that raid right there, I think, was on January 16th, I believe, if I'm correct, Alpha. Well, he's not in the chat, but he'll correct me on Thursday. But it was within a week or two after January 6th. And again, it was over a tweet. Deployed a flashbang. They had at least 3 vehicles, including an up-armored Bearcat, dozens of agents. And you know, when Alpha did the show with Kyle Seraphin, one of the things I learned talking when Alpha was talking with Kyle is that you have to get special permission to do a 6 a.m. raid, like, because it's outside the like hours that they can do a standard raid. Like it's basically saying we have to do it when the guy is in bed and catch him off guard, because if we don't, he's a threat to us.
Well,
right?
You know what that's really about.
Yeah,
I mean, they want to come into your house when you're unsuspecting, so that, you know, all of a sudden out of nowhere, people bust into your house, and then maybe they get into a firefight and they just get to kill you.
Right. And as Alpha tells in the story, like, these police officers know that he is a guy that was working as a detective in gang violence, and that he has, you know, outstanding, he has outstanding suspects that are still on trial for murder and things like that. And so when something like that happens to him, there's the immediate inclination is to grab a gun. Yeah. And you think that maybe somebody's trying to retaliate against you for a case that he's involved in. And, you know, Alpha says, by the grace of God, instead of grabbing the gun next to his bed that morning, he grabbed his cell phone instead. And no idea why. He says, because 99 times out of 100, I would have grabbed my gun. But this time I grabbed my phone. So I just want to point that out when we talk about the hypocrisy. So when these, you know, retards are out there screaming about, oh, there's an agent looking in my window. Well, yeah, you kind of knew this was coming. So you go answer the door, and, you know, if you want to film it. But
I mean, you know, she also knew. I mean, there was the list of indictments that came out prior to her actually being arrested, because they had already gone to the magistrate judge and then they went to the district judge. She knew that she was on there. She knew that it was coming. And still, for her to, I mean, all of these people to question the authority of these federal agents, like, I mean, in the street, you can't arrest me. What are you doing? You need to show me a warrant. Like, you know what? Like, this isn't how it works. You're on a different playing field right now.
Yep. And again, that's a great point that Zach made right there, is these people knew that this was coming. Alpha did not. He wasn't in DC on January 6th. When he saw all this, literally he's thinking to himself, because the last thing you would ever think is, oh, this is about that tweet that I made a month ago. Mm-hmm. Nobody would ever think that you're going to have the FBI. They've got better things to do than to just, you know, scour social media and orchestrate pre-dawn raids on people, on law enforcement, and a former Marine, decorated Marine, and a very decorated law enforcement officer, than to conduct a raid at 6 a.m. So, you know, F off to those people that are freaking out about that. Real quick, let's before we segue, let's take another word from one of our sponsors. All right, Badlands family, I want you guys to take a second to share something that I use every single morning, and I love it. If you've been here for a while, you know that I'm not big on hype, but this one, it's absolutely incredible. Collagen is not just about nails or skin. As we get older, our bodies stop producing as much of this critical protein, starting in our late 20s, as a matter of fact. And that's when joints can start aching, recovery slows down, and everything just feels harder. This specific collagen is grass-fed, pasture-raised, and designed to support joints, bones, mobility, skin, hair, all the stuff that we tend to lose with age. What I like is how easy it is. There's no weird taste, no complicated routine. Just add it to my coffee or a smoothie, and I'm done. It's just part of my daily routine. And right now, you can get a special bundle deal at a fraction of the retail price and free shipping. This offer is only available at getnativepath.com/badlands. That's getnativepath.com/badlands. If you've been thinking about supporting your body instead of just pushing through the aches, go check it out. The link is in the show notes. That site again is getnativepath.com/badlands. I use it every single morning. I love it, and I think you will too. I put it in my coffee every single morning, and I will say my beard has been on like a growing bonanza since I started. It doesn't work on the top of my head. I think that's like DHT, but my beard, I haven't trimmed it in like a month because I'm wanting to see like how crazy I can get. I might keep it like this for Nashville just to see if I can go like full Hank Jr.
I just trimmed mine over the weekend. Like, I don't really like it to get much longer than this. This is about as long as I like it, because I mean, there's like that halfway point where it's long, but it's not long. So it just kind of like puffs out and it gets so itchy. I can't take it.
And I will say this, it mixes, like when you put it in coffee, it instantly evaporates, and it's with most drinks. But I will say this, just a warning, don't try and put it like we drink seltzer waters instead of sodas. Like we get LaCroix and like all those things. Don't put it in one of those. I
No,
don't
don't.
know why, but like it turns to like a clump.
It clumps.
That's the only thing.
It needs the heat. It needs the heat. Yeah, definitely.
It's not even the heat. Christy puts it in. My wife puts it in Field of Greens. She does the Field of Greens drink, puts a scoop of it in there, and it's fine. I think it's the carbonation.
Well, the carbonation, but also in Field of Greens, you've got the fiber and there are other things for it to latch onto and then mix it up. And in the carbonation, it's just the water, but yeah, that carbonation is going to mess it up.
All right, guys. So let's move on now. We'll get back to some of the the Minnesota stuff here later on, but I want to jump into some of the Epstein stuff that's come out. Man, me and Colonel Towner went on like a insane rabbit hole this weekend with one of the emails we found in the Epstein files. But before we get into that part, let's talk about this from the Telegraph. Bill Gates caught an STD from Russian girls, Epstein claimed, and what he did was absolutely crazy. It says Epstein also claimed that the Microsoft founder asked for antibiotics that he could surreptitiously give to his then wife, Melinda, whom he is now divorced.
Bro.
He's like, hey, Jeffrey, hey, man, can you get me some antibiotics for that chlamydia? And I'm going to sneak it into Melinda's drink so that she doesn't come down and be like, why do I have chlamydia all of a sudden, Bill?
Oh, God, what is this itching and discharge, Bill? Good God.
Oh, man, this is hilarious. In a separate email, Epstein told Peter Mendelsohn that he had quote unquote monstrous fun with Mr. Gates in Seattle. That's interesting. Mendelsohn is a former British parliamentarian and held several roles in the Tony Blair administration, which is kind of interesting because, part of this thing with the Epstein files is we're seeing names that are closely associated in some form or fashion with the Trump administration coming out, right?
Mhm.
We have Tony Blair is deeply involved in the Board of Peace and the Gaza, plan and all that stuff. And now all of a sudden one of his, right-hand men, Blair's, is being put out there. And then of course the Kevin Warsh expose that took place last week as well. Now, again, the Warsh thing, this could be a way to shine light on this. I don't know. I'm thinking outside the box here, but nobody would have known who Kevin Warsh was until he was nominated to be the Fed chair. And then all of a sudden, hey, look, he's in the Epstein releases. So
yeah. So Kevin Warsh's place in these more recent releases is not quite as damaging as some of the others. I would say Howard Lutnick does not come out looking very good because, based upon the story he told publicly that, prior to Epstein becoming a sex offender, he and his wife visited their neighbor and then determined like he was weird. He's got a massage table. He makes some sort of offhanded and lewd comment to Howard right in front of his wife. And then they say, we're never going to hang out with that guy. And then in 2012, after they have, clearly established Jeffrey Epstein's status as a sex offender, Howard and his wife both are emailing Jeffrey about stopping by the island and spending a weekend while they've got their kids there. Yeah, that does not look good. And Howard's going to need to address that, I think.
I am a firm believer that Trump is a CI, was a CI.
Oh, me too. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering, maybe, is there a possibility that the assets expand beyond Trump and now into people like Lutnick, like Elon Musk, like Warsh? I don't know. You're definitely right, though. There is some explanation that needs to be given for a lot of these things, at least, as they come more and more into front and center, because this is not a good look for these people in the administration. Elon Musk, not a good look for him. Lutnick, not a good look. Warsh is minimal. You're right on that. But,
Elon, he has addressed it to a degree, but not satisfactorily, I think. I would love it if that's what was happening, that these people were, that they were somehow a CI or they were, working to take these guys down from the inside. But I will say this: there's no indication in terms of Elon Musk or Howard Lutnick or even Kevin Warsh that they were doing anything unseemly other than hanging out with somebody that they really should not by all rights have been associated with. Now, Kevin Warsh comes out a little bit better because it's people talking about him, how they're kind of watching his ascendancy. You know who else was in there was the founder of 4chan, a guy by the name of Moot. It appears that Jeffrey Epstein was sort of enamored with 4chan. He shared some really strange adult content from 4chan and talks about how brilliant Moot was and meeting him. And there's emails directly about Moot coming and meeting Jeffrey Epstein. So yeah. There's a lot of people in these releases that come out looking bad. You know what else was very interesting? I don't know if we're planning to talk about this, but the press conference that the deputy director of the DOJ did.
Blanche,
yes, Todd Blanche. Oh my gosh. Well, he made a point of saying that there would not be any death, dismemberment, or torture videos or something like that would be that they would not be releasing that. They've never said that before. And there have been several emails in this release, like Jeffrey Epstein saying loved the torture video. That came out in the WikiLeaks Pizzagate stuff too.
I've seen a lot of the Pizzagate stuff getting put back into the mainstream over the weekend because of these releases. So and then there's Prince Andrew like hovering over a woman who maybe is dead. I don't know. You can't see because her face is covered. You've also got a disgusting art piece, which is apparently a dead infant between two chickens. Now, that was not an original picture. That was like created in 2003, and it was an artist, a sick artist to be certain. But yeah, I mean, like, why share something like that unless like that's what gets your jimmies rustled? Yeah, that's weird, man. So reading on, it says documents released by the Trump admin also contain new photographs of Epstein with Mr. Gates, who has not yet commented on the claims. He has actually now commented and said that it's absurd. Epstein offered Prince Andrew, which is interesting now that they've gotten rid of the Prince moniker and now they're calling him Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So I think I'm going to officially call him the alleged pedo formerly known as Prince Andrew.
Yes, disgraced former Prince Andrew, confirmed pedophile.
Well, it's all but confirmed. I'm sure he's gonna. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna be suing anybody for defamation.
Yeah,
but Epstein offered Andrew dinner with a 26-year-old Russian girl. Again, that's not exactly against the law. But on July 18th, Epstein sent a memo to himself, including a number of allegations about Mr. Gates. Quote, to add insult to injury, you implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda and the description of your male part. Epstein sent himself another email at 1:03 a.m. the same morning announcing a resignation from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Epstein never worked for the foundation, so it is believed he was writing the email in someone else's voice. Now, I went and looked real quick, Zach, to see who might have, left the Bill and Melinda Gates board around that time, and only two names come up, and that is Jeff Rakes, who left as the CEO of the board on September 10th, 2013. So about 2 months after. And then it's alleged that it's referring to Boris Nikolic, who left in 2014. So almost a year later. So that's kind of interesting and doesn't really give any answers about that.
There's a Boris that is mentioned in these new emails, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, this is the most interesting thing that I've seen so far. And again, this is not verified in any way. So right now it's just accusations and claims. But here, I wrote this article over the weekend. Shocking emails from Epstein file implicates former U.S. Ambassador Clinton's, Biden's, and the first commanding officer of SEAL Team 6 and more. And I'll just read this first paragraph because it reads like a spy novel. A series of emails uncovered in the most recent release by the DOJ reads like a spy thriller novel. American agents in a foreign country attacking local law enforcement to disrupt an investigation. Threats made all the way up to the president of Mexico. A judge shot by an American in order to delay a child sex trafficking trial. A U.S. ambassador implicated in all of it. And a U.S. Special Forces icon being detained in an undisclosed location. Plot twist: the Special Forces veteran is the bad guy. And so all of this, have you seen this story, Zach?
Oh yes. I saw it. I saw it last week, and then I saw that people were piecing the dots together over the weekend. I saw it in conjunction with people connecting it to, assassinations and the U.S. intelligence community. I was real shocked to see the stuff about the Navy SEAL.
So this is the email here from a guy named Kenneth Darrell Turner, who passed away, unfortunately, in February of 2025. And he says, quote, "We've had another serious incident since an American shot the trial judge in our child sex trafficking case here. He and I both think this latest incident is tied to the fact that we have reached out to your team." Now he's reaching out to an NYPD detective that's investigating Epstein in the Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Division. "Who on your team knows we are talking to you? Anyone assigned from NSA, CIA, or U.S. State Department? Please understand people's lives here are in jeopardy. We have had 4 armed attacks against us. My partner has shot and killed 2 and wounded 5 American agents to date. Numerous white American agents follow us in vans assigned to the U.S. Embassy. George was attacked and lost his arm. The president of Mexico is keenly aware of our case against Marchenko," that's the Navy SEAL, "and other U.S. officials. This case we have here is most certainly connected to yours. We have the proof. Our case will help bring a whole new dynamic to what you know and who is involved. Prince Philip is small fry compared to what we have uncovered." He goes on to say, "You may want to question ex-U.S. ambassador to Mexico, Mr. Earl Anthony Wayne, about his involvement with an underage girl when he attended," and it doesn't say what, but I think he meant parties, "and was arrested by the federal police. We believe that Marchenko and Epstein were involved in organizing this party, and it was held in Juarez, Mexico in 2014 at a U.S. consulate-controlled housing facility. Ask him how he knows Richard Marchenko. And he was sentenced in Mexico in 2017 to a life sentence for impregnating an 11-year-old girl. Her son's DNA matches Wayne's 100%, but he is allowing an ex-U.S. Marine to stand in his place to serve his sentence in Mexico. That was an agreement worked out between our U.S. State Department and a judge in Mexico after a huge payoff. Mr. Anthony has an outstanding warrant here in Mexico for avoiding sentencing. I want to confirm that the phone, blah, 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 is free of malware and keyloggers." So that's the first email there. And if you want to comment on that before I move on.
No, I mean, I had never heard of anything related to this case before, and it is absolutely insane. Am I surprised that a U.S. ambassador would be involved in something like this? Absolutely not. But yeah, it just goes to show how deep the rot is, and it should surprise no one that the U.S. intelligence community was trying to stop an investigation into something like this. I mean, that's how high this child trafficking network goes. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So at one point in that same email thread from the one that we just read, Ken Turner says, "I have to go home on an emergency because my nephew, Logan Turner, was killed in a mass shooting in Dayton, Ohio in 2019. Yeah. And again, just pure speculation, but it's been said that these mass shootings sometimes are, cover for a specific targeted hit.
Right.
And the timing of this, as he's saying, we're under attack. Who have you told that, who in your organization could possibly have, tipped off the deep state, so to speak, right? The intelligence community that we're communicating with you. And then, days later, his nephew is assassinated or killed in a mass shooting that, of course, lone actor, whatever. That's really strange.
Yeah.
That something like that happens.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this was the next email in the thread right here. And let me read this one. This is the most recent one, too. On December 31st, 2019, Ken Turner writes, as I tried telling you a month ago, I have continued interviewing the young victim, Carla, fake name, and she has finally opened up after her guardian was attacked and beaten by U.S. agents in Chetumal. She has disclosed where she met Epstein, whose home they visited in New York, Maryland, New Mexico, and the Florida and the Virgin Islands, Cozumel, Playa del Carmen, and Cancun in just the last 2 years with Marchenko. The names she has associated with him and these visits include the Clintons, the Bidens, Wayne, that's the ambassador, older politicians, and lawyers. She has a photographic memory and is an excellent artist who has made sketches of some of these men. These U.S. agents who attacked, raped her, and her guardian are under arrest in Mexico and have asked her and her guardian to drop all charges so that the harassing attacks stop. I don't trust these people not to harm her and her guardian due to all the past attacks. So, again, this thing reads like a spy novel. Marchenko, he was the first ever commander of SEAL Team 6 back in the 70s. He's got a very troubled past if you look at some of the arrests and stuff that he's been involved in. Interestingly, in 2000, he was hired to coach Jim Carrey on the making of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, to coach him into being able to handle 8 hours of makeup to get into the Grinch costume. And that's really interesting because Jim Carrey has a very questionable past in terms, not questionable, but interesting past. The Jimmy Kimmel show where he came out doing the, and called out the Illuminati and all that other stuff. And you kind of wonder, would you hire somebody that's obviously got intelligence relations, that has, the operational capacity of a SEAL team member to, if somebody's incapacitated for 8 hours, to go in and do a little search and see what's in his trailer, that kind of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder what happened with all of these Americans that were arrested in Mexico. How would we even follow up on a case like that? I mean, I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what the rules are in terms of if there even is something equivalent to FOIA down there. There's just, it's a tough egg to crack.
Yeah. And so again, Ken Turner was talking with a detective Harkin in NYPD, and they left one of the emails unredacted, which was kind of strange, right? They redacted his email address and everything. And then one time they left the signature field unredacted. And you can see that it's, I think Walter Harkins was his name. I'm not sure. But interestingly, he retired just days after President Trump was elected to his second term. He retired on November 8th, I believe, 2025. Marchenko died. Now they alleged they had Marchenko in custody, that Ken Turner and George Gonzalez had him in custody in Mexico. But somehow he died in his home in 2021, which is very interesting. Again, Harkins retires in 20, and he was part of the Epstein team that went to Little St. James and did the raid. Like if you look through the emails, his name is mentioned in there as one of the people that traveled to Little St. James to do the raid on Epstein's property. And then Ken Turner, unfortunately, died in February of 2025. So again, this is like a cold trail where nobody is involved anymore. So whether or not, again, this could just be all complete and total fabrications, but it's interesting. Let's we'll jump into the Grammys last night, and I only want to cover one thing, and that's the Nicki Minaj side of this. Have you seen this clip? Have you seen Nicki Minaj going off on Hollywood?
No, I heard about it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man! So this is the clip that allegedly sparked it. This is Trevor Noah kind of taking a shot at Nicki Minaj.
Legend Billie Eilish Phineas. Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here.
By the way, look at Tegan, that disgusting human being back there.
She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues. Actually, Nikki, I have the biggest ass. I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nikki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it. Look at it, baby. Jennifer Hudson is in the house.
Now, Do you think, like Zach, it is incredibly interesting that when Noah calls out Nicki Minaj, John Legend and Chrissy Teigen are right there next to him?
Yeah, I don't think that was a mistake. No,
I don't either, man.
No, they're some of the biggest and most vocal Trump haters, and also they're connected to Pizzagate and the Obamas and all that stuff too. So yeah, they've got a vested interest in stopping all of this, just like the Clintons do.
Absolutely. Some of the Chrissy Teigen's Twitter posts are extremely concerning. They've all been archived, so don't worry, Chrissy, we got them. But Nicki Minaj went on a Twitter destructive, like she went on a warpath. Just listen to some of these tweets. As they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked. Blessed is the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Every tongue that rises up against me in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. Just watch. Now, again, I am not jumping on the Nicki Minaj is like full blown. Well, she might be MAGA, but like she's a good person and all that. She's got some really questionable stuff in her past, but maybe she found Jesus, and maybe
she did. I mean, she talks about it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, you can forgive and move on. Well, I mean, not forgive. I mean, she didn't do anything illegal, but you know, WAP, WAP, WAP. You guys know what that stands for, right? And it's
yes.
WAP is a term against Italians. WAP, WAP, WAP. Well, he says WAP, WAP, WAP.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, but that's not why he's saying it.
Oh, what is he saying it for?
WAP is a song, I believe.
Yeah. That's what it's WAP. That's what I'm saying. It's wet.
Oh, tomato. You know, he's from South Africa, so he's got a little bit of an accent.
As an Italian American, a Sicilian, I'm not born in Sicily, but as a Sicilian American, I am offended by his racial slurs used at the Grammys, and I demand that Trevor Noah be canceled for that. Totally.
That's so funny. You know, I have no problem with Nicki Minaj. You know, I mean, like, sure, I'm not a fan of her music. I haven't liked the way she's carried herself in the past, but I mean, everyone's a sinner. All right. And she is a Christian, and she openly discusses her support for President Trump. And, you know, there's a lot of people who are very offended that the White House is giving her any time at all, but she's one of the biggest musical artists in the world. And I think that people should not discount the power of media in all forms. You know, I mean, a lot of people were offended that the Trump organization, embraced memes in the first administration, and look how powerful that was. You know, I mean, I think that I think that in any way that it is possible to break through and broadcast this message, I think that it's valuable. And I appreciate Nicki for going out there and talking about her faith and openly supporting President Trump. I'm probably still not going to listen to her music, you know, and hopefully she tempers her message. I don't know if she has, because I honestly, I've never listened to a single song other than that Bees in the Trap one that everybody was doing some time ago. If that's her, I think that's her.
I've said oftentimes that, and if she did find Jesus, and I don't know, I don't know enough about her. If you say she has and that she talks about this, then great for her. That's incredible. But I say this all the time, that when you have somebody that is, truly awakened, they're usually your best asset, because they have not just the perspective of the other side fresh in their mind, but they have made a conscious choice to push away from that and embrace, truth and honesty and the direction that she's moving in right now. If that is actually the case, then I would say that this is a significant statements from her. She goes on, she says in another post, the LGBT community has started seeing through the veil, and it has pissed them off. Why are they getting the gay vote by default? They've moved on from the gay vote to flying in people to vote for them. No loyalty to anyone. The gay community should be able to choose every 4 years like everyone else after the Democrats campaign to win your vote. They should not get your vote. Wake up. Another one, she says they're flying immigrants in to vote because they reneged on all their promises that they made to African Americans and can no longer get the African American vote by default. They're causing distractions in the streets to distract from the billions that they stole from taxpayers. Any Christian who votes Democrat again is a fool. They're showing people that it's okay to disrupt a church during worship. This is how they truly feel about you. The veil is lifted, no morals, no integrity. It's not enough for them to have an opinion. They've escalated to physical intrusion of places of worship. The demons inside of them are so bothered all the time. And then she gets downright crazy. Well, not crazy, but, people take this as her going crazy. We know that there's a lot of truth to this. What the F? And she shows Jay-Z with, that's Aaliyah?
Yeah, that's Aaliyah. Yeah, I think she would have been 15 at that time, maybe younger. Maybe younger.
And she goes on again. They sabotaged my documentary because I spoke about abuse that I suffered. They've been trying to stall all my projects in hopes I'd lose a bunch of money and beg them for help. Their leaders still think it's a joke. The destruction that's about to come down on them isn't funny. I told you all to leave me alone. Now you'll understand why you should have just sat there and taken your meds. That one is interesting.
Yes.
And then this one here, are y'all understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story time. Since I was trying not to say what I know, yet they continue to attempt bullying. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated, until I tell you about all the sabotage this Rico is finding out about Billboard, and then shows a picture of Aaliyah at 15 and then Beyonce. I think that's Beyonce, right?
That's Beyonce, yeah.
At 16 with Jay-Z. Aaliyah, was killed in a crash. Yeah. Trevor refuses to come out of the closet when everyone in the industry knows his boyfriend, allegedly. And everyone knows Chrissy Teigen had a DIK.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. She went savage. So, I mean, I got nothing to say on any of that other than interesting. Nikki, let it all come out. Man,
you go, girl.
She's got 26 million followers on X. So, if she decides to go warpath on them, it's going to be a bad day for them.
And her fans are devoted.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, again, you might not approve of all the things she's done in her past, but if she's found Jesus and moved on, she can be an iconic figure and very important to helping a lot of people wake up.
Exactly.
All right, let's go back into the protest here for a little bit. And this was, ironically, as the Grammys are going on, this was Los Angeles. Oh, geez. So I just wanted to show that clip right there before we get into what some of the actual crap that happened there. But it is very interesting, Zach, that, LA has been relatively quiet, especially compared to Minnesota lately. And then the Grammys and LA breaks out again.
Yes. I obviously that's totally planned. I mean, the attention was on LA, and so they figured, okay, we'll have a demonstration at the same time, and it will amplify the message, get it out there.
Yeah, the Grammys.
Also,
good.
I was just going to say, also putting pressure on the stars who are there for the Grammys. Letting them know that they better continue to toe the line, because they are a hair's breadth away from being turned on in the same way that they treat everybody else.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the protesters that are doing that. I think that's the handlers of the...
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, there's always the mastermind, the puppet master behind the scenes.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that. And I think that's specifically why LA, because the Grammys are in Los Angeles. And I think that's why you saw it pop up. Bad Bunny was up on stage. I guess he won an award. I don't know why people give that guy an award. He's like, ugh. But he was up on stage and he's like, before I thank God or my family, I just got to say, ice out. And it was the most cringe thing you could ever imagine. They all started cheering wildly like a bunch of buffoons.
Well, they need gay Latinos, so they're trying to normalize it. So
what was the movie? I saw a movie that I think it was him that was in it. Was he in the movie where he's like a waiter and I think it was it Stick? No, it was Happy Gilmore 2, where he's like a waiter and he becomes Happy Gilmore's caddy, and Travis Kelce's also a waiter, and like I think that's Bad Bunny in that. Maybe
I
not.
haven't seen it, and I couldn't tell you a single thing that Bad Bunny has done other than get up on stage.
Stupid name.
Yeah, bad name, and I guess he's supposed to do the Super Bowl halftime show, and he's planning just a straight 20-minute debaucherous display.
Did Turning Point USA ever go through with their alternative halftime show?
I don't know. I don't follow football at all, so I mean anything related to it, I don't even pay attention.
That was like a rumor that they they had threatened to run a parallel halftime show, and I would have specifically tuned out to jump over to theirs because I have no desire whatsoever to watch that halftime show. But yeah. All right, let's keep moving along. This is another case where they're turning on the. I think. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure. No, this isn't the one. This is a guy covering the protest, and I want you just to hear the one example that they get of why they're protesting and how stupid these people. They don't even know what they want.
Hours earlier, there were violent clashes in that same area, leading to an LAPD tactical alert. Dozens of officers deploying to the streets after a day of peaceful ICE-out protests suddenly turned violent. Air 7 overhead as a group of demonstrators started targeting those federal agents.
What does that remind you of right there, Zach? Just the scenery, not like just.
I mean,
good.
No, it just looks like every other, protest, every other riot that I've seen. It looks very similar to January 6th.
Yes.
If I had to put on a specific event.
The tunnel on January 6th, right? The tunnel that, Roseanne Boylan was murdered in and all that. And it's fascinating how the media portrays this totally different when it's not, MAGA that's doing, allegedly MAGA. That was not MAGA doing that, but.
Those federal officers guarding the entrance to the downtown detention center. Those officers firing back with pepper balls and irritant sprays. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Portman was in the middle of it all. He is live with us now and joins us with his story. Tim.
Hello, Mark. So yeah, there are still clashes with police right now. I'm going to go ahead and toss it to the package because there is profanity.
At nightfall, demonstrators clashed with LAPD once officers declared their assembly was no longer peaceful. Police officers in tactical gear formed a line pushing protesters away from the federal building that holds ICE detainees. Air 7 captured the moment protesters closed in on security guards, shielding themselves outside the building as the crowd threw trash and debris. During LAPD's order for the crowd to disperse, we met Marisol from East LA. She's here demonstrating for her family members who are undocumented and U.S. citizens and fear being detained by ICE.
We're expecting a change. We want to change.
What kind of change do you want to see?
It's insane the way people have been treated. We're all human.
Protest.
What kind of change do you want to see? I don't know. That should be their new chant. What do we want? Change. How do we want it? I don't know.
Oh man.
And then they're also turning on, well, not turning on their own, but turning on the media. By the way, we just got done with a segment about how journalists should not be, persecuted and everything else. Well, I guess they can be persecuted when it's protesters and rioters that are persecuting them. I don't know. Check this out.
Justin, you watched as Elliot, the photographer, went back to the Fox 11 van. What happened then?
Yes, Susan, I was wondering where he was just to make sure that he made it back to the van safely, obviously on his own. And I did find him, and let's go to that video. You can see it rolling there. I found him at the back of the van loading his equipment, but then somebody came up with a rock, smashed the passenger side window, and then went to the front of the vehicle and started graffitiing it, and then tried to actually get in the vehicle. Luckily, the vehicle was not running or had a key in it. He attempted to possibly drive away in it. Now, I did text Elliot after he was able to successfully get in the vehicle and safely drive away to a distance to confirm that he's okay. He does not appear to have suffered any physical injuries from the person, although the person was in his face. So just a very, very scary time there for our Fox 11 photographer. But if we come back out here.
I mean, they're going after everybody now. It's only a matter of time before, and I think it already has soured on the public generally. They just don't cover the souring of this. You know, you go out and talk to any average American and present them with the truth of what has happened and what is going on out there. And they're quickly like, oh, well, that's actually okay. You're okay. Well, ICE is detaining U.S. citizens. No, they're not. I mean, other than incidentally because they're associated with a warrant or something, and they detain them. Once they prove they're citizens, they're let go. That can happen when you're serving a warrant. But yeah, I think this is souring very quickly on the population.
I would agree with you. I mean, the longer this goes on, the more damage gets done, the greater the inconvenience to the lives of everyday people. Yeah. And but yeah, these people are absolutely insane. I mean, they're not going to back down. This is going to have to escalate. And it's either going to be the feds that escalate or it's going to be the protesters that escalate. And I tend to believe it'll probably coincide with each other. We're just going to see boom until finally it's going to go bad. I mean, technically it already has kind of in Minneapolis. But still, even though the unfortunate deaths of Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good have happened, it could have been a lot bloodier. And thank God it hasn't.
I mean, you know, Zach, when I look at this picture right here, and, you know, let me see if I could get where they zoom out a little bit. Yeah, right here. Okay. Oh, maybe a little bit further back. All right. So you look at this picture right here, and you've got a few dozen people right here. You've got almost more cop cars than you do protesters down there. And again, I think this is the media's ability to make something more perceptive. They can change the perception on these events and make, you know, these protests look like they're far worse than they actually are, thus, you know, incentivizing or inciting others to join in these, you know, types of things. It's a psychological operation. I think the media has a lot of complicity, whether they're willing or not, in how they drive the narratives behind, you know, these types of protests. So let's jump into this clip here just briefly. Zohran Mamdani getting shit. I did not have this on my 2026 bingo card. Protesters now going after Mamdani.
Shame! Shame!
So they're mad about this. The CCRB is the civilian. What's the exact? It's the Civilian Complaint Review Board, saying that they should have the final voice of the question of accountability. And that was something that Mamdani had run on, I guess. And now he's like, well, actually, we can't actually do that. So, of course, his agitators are now flipping the script on him and protesting him.
It's so funny that they yell shame as if that's going to have any effect. Like, okay, like, sure, great. You know, tell me how you feel. I don't care.
Right. I'm still collecting my, you know, $150,000 to $200,000 a year. I don't know what the mayor of New York makes, but I'm still collecting that paycheck. I'm still living in this beautiful home for the next 4 years. I'm still going to get all my subsidies and benefits from doing it. Probably going to get reelected again. So another 4 years. I don't think they care about you yelling shame, buddy. Maybe you guys should fix your elections, and then you'll actually have representation that, you know, you can hold accountable when something like that happens. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson puts ICE on notice with executive order seeking prosecution of agents. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order on Saturday called the ICE on Notice Order, and it directs members of the Chicago Police Department to document alleged illegal activities by federal immigration agents and refer evidence of felony violations to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office for possible prosecution. Johnson has accused federal immigration agents of violating constitutionally protected rights, destabilizing communities, and provoking life-threatening confrontations while, quote, remaining insulated from local or civilian oversight. And yeah, I mean, that's all there is to that. Nothing's going to happen from that.
Brandon Johnson is supremely retarded, and someone ought to explain to him. Although, you know what? No, there's no explaining anything to him. I mean, I think he understands how this is supposed to work, you know, what the order of operations is meant to be, but he simply doesn't care. He's a champagne socialist, just like Mom Dami.
Yep. So let's go back to Minnesota here in just a second. But before we do that, I want to talk to you guys about Rumble Wallet. They can cancel your accounts. They can freeze your cards. They can decide what you're allowed to buy, say, or support. Big banks and financial institutions have total control, and they use it. That's why financial independence matters now, more now than ever. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for real freedom. With Rumble Wallet, you control your money, not a bank, not a government, not a tech company. You buy digital assets like Tether, Tether Gold, and Bitcoin in one secure place. No permission, no middlemen, no cancel button. And when you want to support the creators you actually believe in, you can use the Rumble Wallet app to directly tip content creators securely, instantly, and without interference. This isn't a credit line that they can shut off. It's your wallet permanently, yours to protect your future, yours to protect your family. When the system fails, when institutions turn on their own people, financial sovereignty is the difference between security and vulnerability. Rumble Wallet isn't about politics. It's about freedom, ownership, and protecting what's yours. So take control today. Download Rumble Wallet now and step away from the big banks for good. True ownership, true protection, true financial freedom. All right. And then let's talk about our friends over at CBDistillery. When was the last time you woke up actually feeling rested or got through a day without feeling totally stressed out? Yes, over 50% of adults say they'd feel better if they got more sleep, and stress is often the biggest barrier. That's why CBD from CBDistillery makes so much sense. CBDistillery has natural solutions for sleep and stress that can help break that vicious stress/sleep cycle. And everything from CBDistillery is premium quality, third-party tested, and free from artificial dyes or fillers. They're the source that I trust, and so do 2 million other happy customers. You can shop specifically by benefit, whether you want better sleep, less stress, improved focus, pain relief after workouts, or even something for your pets. It's all right there. My pets take the tinctures every day. I take the tinctures every day and occasionally use the or the Om gummies to get some better sleep. I can feel the pain relief stick as well. I get back in the gym and use that thing. So if you're ready to start sleeping better, stressing less, and just feel good again, check out CBDistillery. Visit CBDistillery.com and use promo code Badlands to get 25% off. Again, that's CBDistillery.com. Promo code Badlands at CBDistillery.com. Specific product availability depends on individual state regulations. All right, and let's jump back into the news. Minnesota is going full blown again. These flyers popping up all over the place to actually block traffic. The flyer says, "Get outside, join the anti-ice filter blockade at 34th and Cedar," calling for barricade materials, firewood, signs, and art materials, and most importantly, you. And you can see some of the pictures here over the weekend of literally blocking the road, just setting up looks like a homeless encampment, to be honest with you, blocking the road from traffic being able to get through. There was another one set up on another part of town, same concept here. You see, not sharing that tab, sorry. You can see some of these photos here from the second one that popped up. And then there's this one here, a video of residents trying to get through the blockade. And I mean, these guys are, I don't know if they genuinely are supportive of blocking traffic in their neighborhood. I'd be furious.
Probably not.
I don't know, man. But they certainly, bow down to the blockade. Check this out. Oh, you're good. You live here. You can go through. They're waving at him like, good job. All right, so we got that video.
So how do they know? Are they tracking the license plates of the people living in the neighborhood? Are they checking IDs like the Gestapo?
Yes, that's one of the more concerning parts. Like they are able to, according to the reporting, they are able in real time to check your license plate and verify whether or not you're supposed to be where you are. That is That's kidnapping, by the way. Anytime you stop somebody from free travel, that is considered you're detaining them. That's kidnapping if you don't have the lawful authority to detain people. And then you see this right here where the cops just basically, and pardon my French, but they cuck to them. They just say, "Yep, I'm gonna sit here and watch all this go down and not do anything about it."
Can you guys, what can we do to hurry this up? Because we have fire trucks and ambulances that might need to get through here.
They can come
and
through here.
You're talking about the community, and we're talking about making sure that your neighbors can get access to emergency services.
City buses have been easily passing, so I suspect.
And we're all here. When they come, we'll move it for them, you know? Frankly, you're the one blocking it right now.
Running around over there abducting
You're driving with swapped plates on their cars. Why aren't you ticketing them?
Oh,
They've got swapped plates on their cars. That's not legal in Minnesota.
Thank you. Go take care.
But you look for ice next time.
Look at that. They just like, okay, you know what? It's totally fine that you guys are blocking a roadway. We'll let it slide. We'll let it slide. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, it's insane.
If you lose, like when police lose their authority to enforce the law like that, at some point, you know, something's got to be done, man. Something's got to be done.
Yeah, it's a joke. I mean, if so, they're not enforcing these laws. What other laws are they not going to bother enforcing?
Exactly. Let's, dude. These next two videos I want to play are. This is like shocking stuff right here, man. This is a daycare. I believe this is in New York. Okay. Now, just this is disgusting that this is allowed to happen in a daycare. And I understand daycares aren't, maybe this might be publicly funded. I don't know, but they're generally not, you know, considered the same as like public schools. They're usually private, although they might be accepting state and federal funds.
Definitely are.
Yeah. So that's a good point. I mean, you got to pull funding if this kind of indoctrination is going on. Watch this.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Canton. I am the director here at the Chloe Day School here in Harlem, New York. As today is a national day of protest for all the violent things that we're seeing happening across our city, here at the Chloe Day School, we learn about service and acts of service from Martin Luther King. And so to end our month of service, it's too cold outside for us to go outside and protest. Our teachers cannot walk off the job and leave our children unsupervised. So today, we decided in solidarity, we will support all those who are out protesting against the violence that we see and the harm that we see happening to our friends. So some of our friends are going to share how they feel about what's happening and what they want to see happen in our government to change the harm that we see. So Sahad, how do you feel about what's happening?
I feel all of it.
Right. And how do you feel? What did you tell us earlier?
I feel angry.
Because you don't like to see what?
I don't like to see people are hurt or taken away from their family.
Right. And so, Isabel and Amadi, what do we want to say? Stop the
hating.
Right. Okay. And my last three, Faith, Mariama, and Raya. What do we want to tell people?
Enough, stop hurting people.
And what do we want to say as a school?
Enough is enough. Stop hurting people.
What the fuck?
Yeah, brainwashing those kids. It's Harlem, so I would imagine most of their parents, if not all of them, are probably totally cool with it.
That's the unfortunate part, is that there's parents that are celebrating this type of indoctrination. Like, you are taking away the ability for, first and foremost, these children don't want nothing to do with this. These are children that are worried about, you know, eating Cheerios and what's the next cartoon they're going to watch, or, you know, whatever and you're teaching these people that you're indoctrinating them. That is one of the most disgusting videos I've ever seen. You were taking away the ability for a child to develop their own independent thoughts by putting these, you know, these ideas in their mind that are counter to what's actually taking place, you know, out there. That somehow this is hate. This isn't hate. This is just law. This is enforcement of law. And this is, you know, well, I mean, a color revolution. We could go down that path, but that was just bonkers to me, man. We got another video here. This was in Washington State, also, whatever. This is middle school, where they're leading kids on protest, taking time out from school and going out to protest. Watch this.
This is my daughter's middle school. Being allowed to protest ICE agents, disrupting traffic, having everyone home. I'm pulling my child from school today. This is fucking unbelievable. I'm here to pull my child from the school right now. I'm here to pull Remington Gates from the school district.
Do you want to withdraw?
Yep. This is unbelievable. I can't believe my kid is in this environment right now. I'm blown away. Can she be brought down to the office right now, please?
Again, if we have everybody out there, we'll get her.
I'm blown away. The mother?
Yeah. Well, so I can explain to you what we're doing.
This is disrupting traffic and my child's education. I need to see my kid.
Yeah, we have to.
Okay. When she's down here, I will sign. Are you serious?
Because there's.
What about my family? What about the other side?
Oh, hold on.
That's okay. I just want to make sure Erica.
Mhm.
We'll get it for you. We're just erring on the side of caution, honestly.
Yeah, this is it. What about the other side? What about my family?
Jason's last name. I understand.
This is amazing. As I walked up, I was getting booed by every single.
Well, it goes on for like another minute or so, but at one point, they start saying, "Oh, well, the kids are perfectly safe." No, they're not. They're out in traffic. They're out in public. When you go to school, I mean, this is the same demographic of people that every time there's a school shooting, they freak out. Well, now you're taking the kids out of the school building where there's safety and putting them out there in the public. I guess school shootings aren't, a thing of concern anymore. We have metal detectors and all that stuff at schools now. Now we're just putting them out in traffic. You got somebody that wants to go ahead.
There could be a sniper out there easily. If somebody wanted to kill kids, the best thing you could possibly do is put them out into the open. That's a virtual shooting gallery right there.
Right. But that's all just, manufactured outrage when something tragic like that actually happens. They don't actually, they're not actually concerned about the kids' safety. They just go after the gun rights. They want to make sure that you take away the guns. If they were concerned about kids' safety, they'd be saying right now, why are we putting kids out here, loading them on buses? Where were they going? Were they mobilizing these kids to go to protest?
Yeah,
or were they just this is crazy, man. Like there needs to be investigations into this about using public funding to amass crowds of kids. And I think they tried this in Minnesota after I think it was the Preddy shooting, where they canceled school for 2 days, or actually it might have been the Renee Good shooting at first, where they canceled school in Minneapolis for 2 days. And I said immediately that I think that their goal, their objective, or at least a circumstance of something tragic happening to one of those kids, is to manufacture more outrage and to fuel the recruitment of other individuals to join into this quote unquote color revolution. Movement. It is a color revolution. It's a quote unquote movement. It's actually a color revolution.
Yes.
Man, that is downright horrifying.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
All right. So a couple more stories before we move on. This story here, interesting. New York Times, RNC enters 2026 with nearly $100 million edge on the DNC. It says the Democrat National Committee entered 2026 in debt. It reported $14 million in the bank with $17.5 million in debt, putting the party in the red by roughly $3.5 million. In contrast, the RNC has $95.1 million and no debt. The RNC had $38.8 million entering 2018 at the end of the first year, Mr. Trump's first term. The DNC was in the red at that time with about $500,000 more in debt. But the financial gap between the two parties was less than half of what it is now. Now, the reason I bring that up is twofold. One, remember what happened in 2018. I wasn't here in the United States. I was in Ireland when that happened, but I remember listening on my phone as, they're like, oh yeah, the blue wave actually came. Republicans lost Congress. President Trump was, a de facto lame duck from that moment on. He couldn't do anything. He wasn't technically a lame duck, but they're putting out the idea that, the Republicans have all this money and the Democrats are weak, might bolster their efforts. I don't know. We know the Act Blue funding has been significantly exposed and therefore cut. So 2026 is shaping up to be interesting.
Yeah, it certainly will.
We still have fake elections. So when I say interesting, I'm being very, very subtle. Let's go ahead and play this clip of Fox News. Maybe this is where all their money's going, being shipped overseas.
Now to a Saturday in America investigation. Our team has been talking to DHS officials all week, and we have learned that $700 million in cash was flown out of Minneapolis by Somali couriers in the past 2 years. That's roughly $350 million a year for 2024 and 2025. Now, to put that into perspective, that number is 10 to 1 compared to bigger airports like JFK and DFW. And we are told that they were about 3 to 4 million a year, quite a difference. But it's not just Minnesota. It's also happening in Columbus, Ohio, where officials tell us that since 2023, $136 million in bulk cash was flown from Columbus to Somalia. And now we're learning more about how the money got from Columbus to Somalia. First, bulk cash and luggage flies out of John Glenn Columbus International Airport. Then luggage lands in either Minneapolis or Atlanta before it is sent overseas. Meanwhile, these DHS sources told Saturday in America that Seattle is also seeing bulk cash transfers, although we learned it is significantly less than Minnesota and then Ohio. Now, we should note that those are the states with the largest Somali populations in the country: Minnesota, Ohio, and Washington. And the acting TSA administrator spoke on Capitol Hill explaining how they uncovered all of this.
TSA did indeed report these incidents as it came across the checkpoint, because bulk cash shows up as a mass on the X-ray, and so our officers have to resolve what they can't identify on the X-ray machine. And through the course of their normal day-to-day duties, they reported that to our law enforcement partners in compliance with their standard operating procedures. I know there's an ongoing investigation with our law enforcement partners. We are part of that.
Okay, so a couple things, especially regarding what she says there at the end about TSA having to, see this in the X-ray machines and have to verify what it is and all that stuff. If you're flying out of the country and you have more than $10,000 cash on you, you have to declare it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm guessing that these people are declaring it if they're not being detained. And if they're not declaring it, that's a massive problem, massive, and utter failure by TSA for not, monitoring this. But if they are declaring it, why does it sound like they're surprised when they see these, masses in the luggage, right? Like he's declaring we're carrying cash. X-rays have no problem, visualizing cash. It doesn't block. I don't think cash blocks the X-ray.
No, it'd be obvious there would be stacks of bills in there. I can say specifically at Minneapolis, St. Paul, the whole airport is staffed with Somalis. So you've got, probably a layer of corruption which allows for this to take place there. My question is, why are they interdicting Americans bringing cash on airplanes and then taking it from them? That technically that actually ended officially this weekend. But why have they been doing that for years? Innocent Americans having cash taken from them at airports under the guise that it is the fruit of illegal activity. But then you've got hundreds of millions of dollars going out by people of foreign origin, and they haven't been seizing the money? Muffin. She got herself wrapped up in my headphones. I can understand why it's not happening at Minneapolis, St. Paul, because it's Somalians that they're the ones who are guarding the door. But, at these other airports, why have they not seized this money? I mean, people don't just take suitcases full of $7 million, flying it out of the country if there is total like above board activity taking place. You know, I mean, people with that much money are transferring it via bank.
Well, I'd like to see the justifications for it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just declare it and say like, "Hey, I'm taking $100 million out of the country." They're going to ask you, "Why are you taking that?" Otherwise, it's pointless for you to be declaring it. If you can just, and by the way, I catch the irony in being a constitutionalist and saying that you have to declare taking money out of the country. I understand that. It's fascinating to me that you have to do that in the first place. But since you do have to do that, especially foreign nationals, because these are all Somalians. I don't even know if they're citizens taking the money out of the country like that. I don't know, man. That's just crazy. Maybe that's where all the Democrats' money is going. It's going to Al-Shabaab in Somalia to fund
And it's
them.
making its way back from someplace else. That's for sure.
They're getting crushed, man. They are getting crushed. All right, let's jump in. This will be our last story for the day. I love to see this. Box office, Melania heads for $8 million opening, the best showing in a decade for a documentary. And if you look at some of the reviews here from C3 on X, you can't hate the media enough. The Hollywood Reporter called it a propaganda doc. The Atlantic called it a disgrace. The Guardian, pure endless hell. The Daily Beast called it terrible. The Independent, quote, to call Melania vapid would do a disservice to plumes of vape smoke to any of the people. And then you look at the scores here. Tomato meter, Rotten Tomatoes gave it 7%, but the popcorn meter, which is the people, gave it 99%. Not really shocking, though, because you would assume the people that actually go to see it are, fans. But, dude, you can't lie about the numbers, man. Top documentary box office opening in 10 years.
Yes, absolutely. And this is a familiar refrain. This has been going on for a while. Every time the critics hate something, I think it's a pretty good indication that the movie is well worth your time because, they have a message that they want to send. They hate Melania. They hate anything related to Trump. Of course, they're going to talk about it in terms of, propaganda. I saw a reviewer equate it to Leni Riefenstahl propaganda films from the Nazis. Of course they're going to do that. But, if you actually see the movie as people have, they really enjoy it.
Ash saw it on Friday, said that it was fantastic. So I'm going to be going to see it this week. I think maybe Wednesday night I'll go see it since I don't have any shows that night. One of the other things that Ash said that I thought was awesome was, she was talking about the previews for the movies coming up that were showed. And they seem like some really good, wholesome movies, like, victories in the culture war, putting, good messages out there through some of these movies. And then the other thing, with Melania performing this well, I go back to The Sound of Freedom, when The Sound of Freedom came out, and how amazing that movie did in the box office. In the first week, it smashed. But the second week, it really, when people came out and were like, oh, this was so good, and Caviezel was great, and the story is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking, and, all that stuff. And the next week, it crushed even more, right? And so I'm wondering if Melania is going to have that same effect, where when people go out and see it, and they're actually like, wow, this was really good. You got a great side of her. You got a candid side of President Trump and all that stuff. So we'll see what happens with it. All right, so that's all we've got for today. Let me go ahead and see. Did I not pull Rumble Rants up the API? I did not.
I did not either.
Yeah, so we'll have to do it the old school way. If you guys have not done so, a little over 3,400 watching, smash that thumbs up, almost 1,000 thumbs. Thank you so much. Huck Fillery, my pledge from last week met. I unfortunately had to miss a lot of last week, but did hear a couple drops. It appears my brain training is working. So Huck Fillery gives me a Huck buck every time I don't say 100%. So now I say 100% and attribute it to them.
I love it.
They, them pronouns. Makes sense to me. Should APL get arrested for heckling a gay church service, or no, because she was alone? What is
Anna Paulina Luna? She heckled a gay church service. I don't know anything about that.
Me neither.
Yeah,
but we did mention her. So I did not. I don't know what you're talking about, but hey, if she heckled a church service and interrupted their service, then yes, she should. Jackie Espada, high schoolers in Georgia sent back to class for protesting. Let's check this out. Thank you, Jackie. Good to see you. Let's check this out. All right, it's just music. But did they walk out? Did they walk out because they were asked to protest, or did they walk out to protest? Let me see if it's clear in the description. Oh, stop. The high school didn't allow their students to walk out and protest ICE. They all had to turn around and go back to class. Okay. So the kids were trying to go out. And I guess they said, no, you're not going out. I mean, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Although it's unfortunate that the kids wanted to go out and protest. Although, you know what, looking back at my time when I was in school, like I can remember, like if something like that came up, I'd be like, oh, I'm getting out of school. Okay, let's go do it. Whatever it was, wouldn't matter. I'd volunteer for anything. As long as it got me out of class, I'd be like, all right, I'm good. Let's go. I was not a big fan of school. Very smart, but not a big fan of school. Got to do it the old school way. I don't know if there's any more rants. I think
that was it because there we go.
Sleep state. Minaj warned about the clot shots. Yes, she did. I remember that. She was pissed. Okay, didn't like her cousin or something take it and developed like cancer like almost immediately or something?
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with it. We also have a couple of gold pills. Hogleg 71 dropped a cookie in a can, and then D Dalid dropped a cookie as well. So thank you for that support, you guys.
All right. Well, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Zach, what you got coming up, brother?
I've got my show at 5 and Red Pill News on my channel on Rumble and all of the other relevant platforms at Red Pill 78. And then you can also find me tonight here on Badlands at 10:30 for Baseless Conspiracies.
All right. And I've got on my platform, rumble.com/CannCon, I'm going to be reading the document that was used as the basis for the FBI warrant that was served in Fulton County. I read on my Saturday show, I read the entire intro, the executive summary, so to speak. I read that on Saturday. I'm going to put that up as a live stream this afternoon, just that part, because it was a 3-hour show and the reading was only like 45 minutes. So I'm going to put that up this afternoon as a live stream. So you can go back and watch that if you want at some point. Stick to Badlands first. And then, when you got nothing else going on, you can check that out. And then I'll be reading each count in a live stream and going through and talking about those. So if you want to check that out, rumble.com/CannCon. They just accepted me back in the creator program. So that's exciting.
Very good. Very good.
They did it right this time. Last time they gave it to me, they put me in the program with like a week to go before the end of the month. And I was like, I can't put 30 hours in a week. That's impossible. And they kicked me out. So the whole month of January, I was out. And now they put me back in on February 1st. So they did it the right way this time. So
there you go.
Hat tip to Rumble for getting it right this time. So also stay tuned. You've got Y Chromes and Daily Herald coming up at 1 p.m., followed by Alphas Make Sandwiches at 3:30. And then, like Zach said, Baseless Conspiracies and a ton of nightly shows here on Badlands. So stay tuned, smash that thumbs up, check out our sponsors in the description down below, and we will see you guys. I'll see you guys in about an hour.
Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up on this video. And a special thank you to all of our advertising partners. Please remember to shift your dollars to support those businesses that support Badlands Media.